And then God would always tell me this one phrase, because every time I would see this vision, I would ask him, when is this door going to open? And God would respond by saying, this door will open in the fullness of time. In the fullness of time. This was the phrase that he kept telling me over and over and over again. And so I wasn't sure exactly what this meant. And so I went to the Bible. Is this phrase in the Bible? Where do we see this? And what does it mean? And it is in the Bible only 2 times. And here's what we see in the Bible. So the first time we see it is in Galatians. And Paul is talking about, so here he says, but when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his son, born of a woman. Okay, so Paul is describing when Jesus came the first time as the fullness of time. Okay, so that's the first time. The second time we see it is in Ephesians. So it's Paul again, and it's at the very bottom here. He says that in the dispensation of the fullness of the times, God might gather together in one all things in Christ, both which are in heaven and which are on earth in him. Okay, so the first time when Paul uses this phrase, fullness of time, it was about Jesus coming the first time. But here he's using that same phrase, and he's talking about something in the future that has not happened yet. So what is this fullness of time? I think it's when Jesus comes back the next time, the fullness of time. Okay, so this is very interesting. All right, so let's think about this idea of the fullness of time a little bit more. What does it actually mean? So this fullness of time is actually an illusion. It's a metaphor of pregnancy. So a pregnant woman, when she reaches her fullness of time, she gives birth to her baby. So until then, the baby's inside of her forming and getting stronger. And then when the baby reaches the right point, the fullness of time, that's when she would give birth to her baby. So it is a pregnancy metaphor. So let's look at a couple of quick scriptures where we also see this pregnancy metaphor, because I want to show you something. All right, so in Matthew 24, same chapter where we've been over and over again today, Jesus says, after he's told the disciples all these things that are going to happen, but all these things are merely the beginning of birth pains. All right. Next one, Romans 8:22. Paul says, for we know that the whole creation groans and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now. And then after this, it says, and we also, our spirits, we groan because we want to be unified with Christ, and we want to have our glorified bodies. Okay, so that's talking about the end times. And then the last one, 1 Thessalonians 5:2. For you yourselves know full well that the day of the Lord is coming, just like a thief in the night. While they are saying peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them like labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. So I wanted to show you this, that every single time we see this metaphor again of labor pains of a pregnant woman, that it has to do with the end times. So that's why I really think that the white door visions that God had been giving me, this fullness of time that God is talking about, I think he's talking about when Jesus comes back. Okay. And I believe that is going to happen really, really soon. And I'm going to explain to you more about why in just a minute.